They say that the United States usually lags behind China by about 5 years when it comes to adopting new technology. So here's what I learned this week about what's going on in the EV charging market in China and what I think is going to happen in North America in the next couple years. China has already completely jumped on the electric car bandwagon. And as of January 2026, now over half of all the new cars sold in China are electric. So with all these EVs on the road, the EV charging market must just be killing it, right? Well, there are a few key major differences between the China market and our market. I'm going to say our, even though I'm in Canada, but I'm just kind of looking at it as North America. So the first biggest difference is China, they really oversaturated the market with chargers. I guess this was part of the whole Chinese government to really get ahead of the electric vehicle wave, and they went crazy with installing chargers. I think I read that now in public, they have one EV charger for every 4 electric cars. So there's tons of chargers out there. And just like the old supply and demand model where there's too much of one thing, it's going to mean less demand, right? So the utilization rates are a little bit lower than what we're seeing in the United States. Another huge difference is the charging in China is way faster than it is in the United States. This simply has to do with the supply of the electricity that's available in China versus in the States. But this isn't always necessarily a bad thing, especially for the EV charging operator. If you own an EV charger, and in general, it takes a little bit longer for the driver to charge their car, then there are some extra added benefits that you can make money from this scenario. And this is through selling additional services and products. Think of the Tesla diner, for example. This is a perfect example. People have to go and charge. Yeah, they might charge in half an hour to an hour with the Tesla superchargers, but this is still a pretty substantial amount of time that people are sitting at your location. So why not offer them other things like food or maybe a car wash or other products like you can buy at a convenience store? And these are all super high margin items. So this is a great supplemental source of creating some extra revenue for your business. And still, if you ask the average American if there's enough public charging stations out there, I read that 44% of buyers still think that there's not enough public charging stations. There's definitely still a huge demand for public charging, and our market in North America just simply hasn't caught up yet. I think soon more and more of these energy hubs are going to be popping up, similar to the Tesla diner, and these will just be replacing gas stations as a more high quality, enjoyable place to stay and charge up your vehicle. Another crazy thing I just learned about China, which honestly I had no idea about, they have taken a completely different route to how cars are being charged. So here in the United States, we want to focus on the fastest chargers possible, right? You own your car, it has a battery in it, and you want to charge that thing up as fast as possible. Well, China has another option, and it's actually the battery swapping model. So you can actually buy a car without a battery in it. It will be like $10,000 cheaper. And instead of going and sitting at a charging station, you can drive to these battery swapping stations where you pull up with your old dead battery and they'll swap it out for one that's fully charged. So you don't have to wait for it to charge. They just swap out a fully charged battery and you just go on your way. There are companies like Nio and BYD that have these stations where this robotic arm will remove your old dead battery and put in a brand new fully charged battery in about 3 minutes. I swear BYD is so far ahead of the game. They're such a cool company. I'm here in Brazil right now and they don't have many Teslas. I don't think I've seen any Teslas here, but they have tons of BYDs. And these cars are wild. They're like Teslas, just with a spin. And you could argue the technology might even be a little bit more advanced. This is just a side note, but I was sitting in an Uber a couple nights ago and I was in the back seat. It was wild. The driver was literally watching the news when we were driving around. It was all in Portuguese, so I didn't understand it, but I was watching TV while I was being chauffeured around in the back of this Uber. BYD is a really cool company. I really hope that they figure out a way to bring those to North America because that will really change the game in terms of the quality of electric cars that are available. So yes, back to the battery swapping phenomenon that they have going on in China. You can buy a car with these replaceable batteries. as I said, you can get one without the battery and do it on like I think it's a subscription based model where you have your car that doesn't technically own a battery, but you're part of this membership club where you can pull up to these stations and they just swap out the battery for you so you can get a fully charged one. Or you can own your own car with your own replaceable battery and do the same thing by going to these battery swapping spots that have these robotic arms switching out your charged battery for you. That is so wild. Saying these words out loud is so crazy. And lastly, one of the most major things and the key differences between China and the US market in terms of starting an EV charging business is the profit margins are way better in the States. Because the market isn't oversaturated yet, we don't have these crazy price wars where these EV charging companies are, race to the bottom in terms of cheaper charging. So you're able to kind of hold strong in your charging rate, which means healthy profits and healthy business and healthy return on investments. The average time to break even on an EV charger in the United States is anywhere between 3 and 7 years. It's not uncommon to break even in 4 or 5 years if you do things right and look out for the right things like a cheap install, choosing the right location, and setting everything up the right way, which I go into in a lot more detail in my course below. So check that out if you want a step-by-step guide on the best way to do it so your business is actually successful. And feel free to book a time in the links below if you want to have a one-on-one chat with me. And if you own your own property and are considering installing DC fast chargers at your location, then feel free to give me a shout and I can walk you through all the different models that are available and the different suppliers to choose from. Thanks so much for checking in, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.